So I think I've talked quite enough this evening, so I will skip over some of my slides, but there are some points that I feel we really need to make, and that is looking at the research data and what that shows about just how important investing in midwives is to empower women. So I wanted to just touch on a few things in this presentation, which I'll skip over now, but just to say about the data supports advocating for midwives and continuity of carer and midwifery care for all women around the world. And I think the theme of promoting the data, sharing the data is such an important aspect of the advocacy that we need to share with everyone, especially policymakers and women themselves, that they know that that's what the data supports and that's what the evidence says. Secondly, I wanted to just share my own experiences of being a patient as a woman delivering babies through midwifery-led care, briefly touch on some of our research data and what women want, and then really get your opinions on the information that women need the most to empower them with birthing decisions. So follow the data, invest in midwives. And I think this document has been released today, the 2021 State of the World Midwifery Report. And I strongly recommend that everybody reads it and shares it with their colleagues, anybody who has any interest in the subject area, because it's such a convincing read. Over 90% of all sexual, reproductive, maternal, newborn, adolescent care can be delivered by midwives, and yet midwives only represent less than 10% of the global workforce. We've all heard such wonderful, inspirational presentations this evening. I don't need to tell you guys how wonderful and how important delivering quality and respectful care is, because I'm preaching to the converted, but midwives really offer that, and it's important to let everybody know. Midwives can save lives. So there's some research studies, and I think Mary mentioned the Lancet series about the impact of universal coverage of midwifery care for women throughout pregnancy and during labour and the postpartum period. And actually, if there was universal coverage of midwifery delivered interventions by 2035, 4.3 million lives could be saved every year. And that's including maternal deaths, newborn deaths, and stillbirths. Even if we look at much more conservative estimates about increasing coverage of midwifery-led care, at 25%, you can still see around 40% of maternal deaths and newborn deaths can be averted, and even a modest 10% could avert 22% of maternal deaths, 23% of newborn deaths, and 14% of stillbirths. Not only do midwives save lives, actually investing in midwifery from a national policy perspective is a cost-effective intervention. Midwives are life-saving, their health improving, and system strengthening potential is huge. But of course, midwives have to be well educated, adequately trained, and given the supportive working environment to allow midwives to deliver the care that they've been trained to deliver as part of a supportive team. And of course, gender inequality is a massive issue around the whole world. And that affects not only the women that we care for, but also the women who we work with as colleagues. And I think gender equality and promoting good working environments which are well supported is a really important aspect which this document highlights. There's a massive shortage of midwives. Almost 900,000 midwives will be needed to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals, which with the current workforce we will not meet. And therefore it is to governments and policymakers and advocates to make these high-level decisions, strategic decisions about workforce planning, which will allow us to meet our goals of ending maternal mortality. So I just have included these slides really just to give you a flavour of the document and hopefully encourage you to have another look at it. So investment is needed in workforce planning, management, working environments, high quality education and training, models of care which are led by midwives, not obstetricians, and midwifery leadership, governance, and senior positions in the government, research, and education. Midwives should be the ones to drive policy in this area because that is their area of expertise. So, in summary, midwives promote the health and well-being of women, adolescents, and newborns. They put safe and effective care within the reach of more people, could save millions of lives, contribute to national and local economy, and contributes towards women's empowerment and gender equality. So, of course, as a researcher, I'm interested in the data and what the research shows. But actually, as a mother, as an individual, I wanted to just share the story of my girls and why my middle daughter says that she's a mermaid. So actually, the way that obstetric and midwifery services are set up in the UK is that actually midwives look after a patient all the way through pregnancy, right from booking, during the labour, and then in the postnatal period as well. Obstetricians aren't the routine carers. They only come in and out when consult, advice, or potentially intervention is required. Bella, my younger daughter here in the pink mermaid outfit, was born in a pool, and she knows that she's a mermaid, and she's very proud to tell everybody that she was born under the water and therefore she's a mermaid. But what do women want? And I think that's also critical. One of the studies that we're doing at the moment is looking at induction of labour in women in India who have hypertensive disorders. And actually, if you look at all of the research done around induction of labour, only a tiny fraction actually evaluate women's perceptions of the methods, of the experiences, or in fact, anything to do with the women's perceptions. So as part of this study, we're doing a full qualitative alongside study, but I just wanted to share some of the pilot data from a survey that we're working on called the Mother Generated Birth Satisfaction Index. And this is just one of the routine forms that we ask women to fill in as they take part of this study, of course, if they're happy to do so. And we're asking all women before and after their birth, what is important to them now at this moment? How are you feeling? What's most important? And actually what's coming through again and again through this pilot data that we have is what's important to women is the baby, the health of the baby, the safety of the baby, but also of the birth and the delivery process and of the mother. But very crucially, women want normal birth. And obviously every culture is different, but in this specific culture, women are very strongly saying they want normal birth. And actually postnatally, many women are sad that they've had a cesarean section. It's not what they would have chosen. And there's one quote that comes through again and again, trouble for 2 months or trouble for 2 hours. And actually that's the way women in this population see it. The trouble for the normal birth for a short period of time or trouble after a cesarean section for months, which could cause them problems for life. So it's really important to hear those voices of what women want. But I don't need to tell you guys that, you already know this. The final thing that I just wanted to bring to the table, because you guys are the absolute experts in this area, is about a project that we're working on with the Global Library of Women's Medicine. So we believe that empowering women with education and knowledge could be one of the biggest tools to unlocking some of these issues. However, actually organizing that kind of program is very challenging. There's problems of language, of literacy, and how do you reach the women who need the information the most? So the Global Library of Women's Medicine is an existing resource which typically makes videos and texts and things like that to train healthcare professionals. They're the educational platform for FIGO. They have a wide reach and they have ambassadors in 120 countries around the world. GLOWM's new project is called Healthy Women, Healthy Families, Health Education for Women and Their Communities. And what we are aiming to achieve is to create a series, a large series of short animated videos for women, their families, and their communities, containing simple healthcare messages. As well as those videos, that information will be supported by texts, which people can access on their phone, and there'll be links to further information. I'd like to ask you guys, as the experts, as what you think these videos should be on. What should the topics be? What should the content be? If you know anybody who'd be keen to help write these videos, who can get women's involvement, I'd be really, really keen to hear more about what input people could have, because I think this is one tool where actually we would potentially be able to make a big difference. The whole beauty of these videos is that actually they can be translated into any language on earth. So the whole concept is to make the video animation and the voiceover split, so that actually where willing volunteers come forward, they could be translated into any language. So I'm so aware that we're short of time and I don't want to keep us any longer, but please do type in the chat your views on what would be the most important topics to cover. And if you had any ideas on what women want, or anyone wants to contribute, please do let me know. And I really look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Kate. I appreciate your help and support as a very important team member of Lily Excellence Center. After every event, I and entire team relies more and more on you. Thank you so much. Dear friends, please, if you have any questions, please. Thank you. Gail.
I'm very impressed. I'm very interested in the videos, but I would like to be able to contact some of these people and say, you know, what can I do? How can I support you? What can I share? So like Marianne, I don't have Marianne's email address. I don't have Kate's. Marianne, I want your email address. Fatima, you're wonderful, but I don't know how to just phone. I can't even write them individually and say, I love you, I think you're great. I haven't seen Marianne for like 100 years. You know, I would, and I don't know how I lost your email, but in Fatima, I know comes to lots of classes, and yeah, come on guys. I want to just personally thank them all individually, but I don't have all your email addresses. I am so happy.
Yeah, we will collect all of the contact details and share with you, dear girl. We have to start from now.
I'll tell you what, I will give you all my email address and then you can write me midwife.international@gmail.com.
Thank you. That's a good idea.
Yeah, because that way, if they want to talk to me, or if they don't want it, they won't contact me. midwife.international@gmail.com.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.